the introduction of NFTs allows creators to start seeing royalties on future sales as well.
I'm Alexander Ferguson. Welcome to UpTech Report. This is our Apply Tech series. UpTech Report is sponsored by TerraLeap. Learn how to leverage the power of customer stories at terraleap.io. Today, we're going to be talking about art and NFTs. And I'm excited to be joined by my guest, Monty Preston. She's the manager of art, advisory, and curation at Saatchi Art, based in LA. Welcome, Monty. Good to have you on.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Now, just to give some context, tell me a little bit about Saatchi Art and your role and intersection of NFTs. Just briefly, starting with Saatchi Art.
So Saatchi Art is the world's leading online gallery for emerging artists. And we work with emerging artists who are located around the world so that they can list their works and we can help advance their careers. And as an art advisor, I work very closely with collectors who are interested in finding work to beautify their homes, add to their collections, for their offices, etc.
I pulled up a few numbers from your website. 1.4 million original artworks created by 94,000 emerging artists from around the world, over 110 countries. That's a lot of numbers right there. But now there's this intersection of NFTs. The conversation around NFTs have been exploding. So I'm curious, let's start with the basics of NFTs, how you see it coming into the art space.
Well, NFTs are a really exciting new technology that provide creators with the opportunity to have more ownership over their work and more control over their assets. It allows them the opportunity to participate in this new digital economy in a way that removes gatekeepers from the equation.
Mm-hmm. Traditionally, what has been those gatekeepers that's been in this art space?
Traditionally, for a lot of digital creators and not just artists specifically, there are a lot of platforms that make most of their money off of advertising, and that money goes back into the pockets of the platform, not into the creator who are making money advertising the work that these creators have made. And it can be a really similar story for artists as well. If you think about the path of an emerging artist who maybe starts off and they're selling their works for not a significant amount of money, but as their career escalates, they start to earn more and more money on their sales. Some of those original works, for instance, they will never see if they resell later at a higher price, they're never going to see that money. So the introduction of NFTs allows creators to start seeing royalties on future sales as well.
There's kind of multiple sides of the conversation around NFTs. You have the technology itself. You have people who think it's just a Ponzi scheme or things that are just wasting money around. But then to look at from the artist perspective, and if I understand that you're trying to build this interconnected global art community of helping these starving artists to be able to make money easier, faster, quicker off of their art. I mean, is the idea of a starving artist, is it valid? Is it true?
I think it's valid. I'm actually the daughter of an artist, so I know firsthand how difficult it can be to monetize your work as an artist. And it's such a, it's really wonderful for me to be able to work with artists every day and help them make sales, help them connect with collectors who want to be patrons of their work, to see them go off and get signed by galleries and, earn more money and get more exposure. And I think one of the really fantastic things about NFTs is just, first of all, introduction to a greater economy of people who are interested in purchasing NFTs and purchasing art and supporting specifically digital artists, but also just the ability to have more control and more say over how your work is shown, where your work is shown, what you're charging for it. It's sort of an instantaneous payout process when you sell a work. So it really provides a lot of opportunities for artists who maybe aren't necessarily located in major centers. So somebody who is, at the far reaches of the earth, who has access to a computer, because of decentralization and blockchain, they're able to have the same opportunities to sell an artwork as somebody who's located in New York or LA or Paris, for example.
Leveling the playing field, both on where you are, but whether the people know you or not. Well, I mean, it still comes down to people have to actually come across your art and like it to still buy, whether it's an NFT or not. There has to be that base, but ideally it's just opening it up more.
Yeah, I think it provides more access for people who are creative to monetize their work. And yes, obviously, discovery is a big issue and something that can be improved upon always, whether it's an online platform or whether you're showing work in a physical gallery, for instance.
There's been usually the comment that's when an artist is dead is when they pass away, then suddenly their art and people will value it. Is this theoretically going to help artists be able to monetize sooner, not before they're gone?
I'm not sure it really has anything to do with whether an artist is living or not. But what is really nice to see is how the NFT community and crypto natives are really interested in supporting artists. The community very welcoming, encouraging, wanting to see more people creating art and experimenting. And a lot of artists who are creating NFTs are also the collectors of other artists whose work they like. So it's sort of this really beautiful sort of symbiotic energy that's happening within the space. So there's a lot of support for emerging artists who are trying to make a living.
I feel like the visibility of when you buy an NFT versus another type of art, it's different because you can show it, you can display it online, and you don't have to worry about someone stealing it. Versus someone buys a very nice piece of artwork, either you keep it in your house or it's stored in a. I feel like I heard it somewhere that so much art, great art, is just stored in warehouses. Is that true?
Yeah, I think that just exactly as you said, the visibility offered by digital assets, which are expansive and they want to be shared and information is free to go all over the internet. It really provides people with the opportunity to interact with and experience so much more art than if you think about, how many people are able to get to a world famous museum, right? Versus how many people have access to the internet. So I think that, decentralization, the metaverse, just NFTs in general are really providing a way to spread information and spread art and have more people involved.
Here's what you guys are doing. I think I read something about this, your latest project, the Other Art Fair.
The Other Avatars.
Okay, so yeah. So what is it? It's like a virtual edition? People can see things in virtual reality? Or just find that.
So the other, yes, the Other Art Fair, yes, two different things. So the Other Art Fair is our partner fair. And as we are an online art gallery, we also want to be able to bring physical art experiences to people around the world. So we partnered with the Other Art Fair, who have fairs in various cities, London, Australia, they're in the US. We're expanding to Canada soon. So we did, during the pandemic, have a virtual edition where we had sort of a metaverse experience set up. And because we couldn't have any in-person fairs, it allowed artists to still be able to exhibit their works and allowed collectors to come in and sort of experience the art in VR.
Interesting. And you could look at things and things were on sale. So did people actually purchase stuff in the virtual space?
Absolutely. And I mean, it's not really a novel concept for us being an online art gallery. Most of our sales are happening online. So I think a lot of our clients were very used to the idea of seeing art online in a virtual space. It kind of gave them a sense of the size and scale of the work and what it might look like on their wall. We have an augmented reality feature too on our app and on mobile web, where you can place an artwork on your wall in your home, which is really great if you're like browsing and trying to see what's going to suit your space. It's a very useful tool. So similarly, the virtual editions was a really great experience. We had a lot of positive feedback from collectors who had fun sort of just wandering around from home, exploring. So
I feel like in the past, I mean, this technology isn't new, but is the adoption increasing? Like, can you share anything as far as numbers or what you've seen, ideally numbers or anecdotally, as far as the individuals wanting and ready to jump into a metaverse, a 3D environment, and start looking at this art?
I don't think I have numbers for you, but I think that, if you look at all of the brands that are sort of entering into the space and that are really interested in exploring metaverse and NFT opportunities and getting into crypto, I think we're going to see, a much greater mainstream adoption in the near future. And we're seeing it every day. I have clients who are writing in, interested in learning more about NFTs and totally confused by the whole concept and looking for guidance. So it's a lot of fun for me to be able to help onboard people into this new area, this new technology.
The headlines are definitely there to grab the attention. I mean, that was it, I think this year the NFT that sold at Christie's auction house for 69 million, something crazy like that. It grabs people's
Yes.
attention, saying, "What, an NFT selling for 69 million dollars?" Um, is it? I think some people still think it's a fad. NFTs will, because it's just big money spent on it because they have it. But truly, is how is it going to shift? Are people just going to NFT just going to become commonplace because more you're seeing that adoption happen?
Well, I think that if you look at our lives, they're becoming increasingly more digital, right? We are here on a Zoom having a conversation. Most people who were able to work remotely were working via Zoom. Everybody basically has social media. And I think with the sort of usherance of the new generations who have been digital their whole lives, coming of age and sort of now having more of an impact on shaping the direction of the future, I think that adoption of digital assets as just commonplace it's inevitable and it's here.
Yeah. What pops in my head is I was listening recently to Freakonomics by NPR, and they're doing a whole series on art right now. And one great comment they made, and I feel like I've seen this, is art has been in some ways an elitist type of group, that certain people would go out and buy art, but in some ways NFTs are kind of bringing it around to the millennials, to others, people that wouldn't normally say, I'm going to go buy this beautiful piece of art, are now buying NFTs. I remember I was chatting with a friend the other night, and he said he just spent $2,000. And I'm like, on just this NFT. I'm like, you did? He's like, yeah, I think the value go up, and I'm just going to buy it. Is he actually investment, but also bragging rights? I don't think he would have. My friends would have said, I bought this wonderful piece of art before NFTs. So I'm fascinated with this whole trend in not being less elitist.
Yeah, I think that people have so many different motivations for purchasing art. You might want to purchase art to commemorate like a life event or a trip that you went on, or you may be purchasing art because you really connected with that artist and the story that work tells. And then for a lot of people, it is very status motivated. So I purchased this work because, it's a cool artist and I want to have something to talk about with my friends. And I think for NFTs, it's very similar, right? The reason that a lot of people buy work is potentially to support an artist that they really love. They maybe connect with the work, or it could be because they want to be part of a community. They want to have that, sort of, we haven't really talked about avatar projects yet, but those little avatar profile pictures, and that's your NFT on social media, and it signifies this is who I am, this is what I like, these are the sorts of people that I associate with. So I think there are a lot of different reasons that people buy art, and for Saatchi Art, our mission has always been to democratize the art world and make art accessible and transparent to anybody who's interested, not just a very specific subset of people who the art world has generally catered to. So NFTs are really exciting for us, and for us, an evolution of our mission to bring art to more people, and that's why we're getting involved.
Can you share a bit more about the NFT Avatar thing you've mentioned?
Yeah,
before?
so Avatar Project, it's generally like a larger series of collectibles, and every avatar, typically they're based on like a human or an animal character, and each avatar will be unique in that it has different traits. So that could be like its hairstyle, or whether it's wearing glasses, for instance. And then, people will purchase one of these avatars to be part of that community, and there will generally be like a Discord community built around it so that people can, connect, and the avatar will get used on your social media. So it might be your like little Twitter profile guy. Yeah.
This growth of multiple ways NFTs can be used. I'm curious, are your virtual galleries going to always like include NFTs now? Is there going to be a combo of both physical and NFTs, or just NFTs? How is this going to live all together, and what are you guys going to be doing?
Yeah, so we actually had the Museum of Crypto Art, MoCA, come and do an exhibition with us at one of our virtual editions last year, which was really exciting. So Colburn Bell, who's the curator and founder of the museum, did a talk and talked about NFTs, and it was really wonderful. And he put together a selection of works for the virtual edition. So we did have some NFTs that were living alongside the digital renderings of the physical artworks that would have been sold at the fair in person. So I think we are seeing sort of a crossover of that. And for our current project that we're working on, the other avatars, which is an avatar project, but it is not generative art. We're using the collective creativity of 150 plus artists who are all contributing handmade avatars to the series. So we're really excited about that. And it's sort of our first step into integrating NFTs into our marketplace, which is a little bit further down the line. But, we are hoping that one day you'll be able to check out an NFT and a physical artwork in your cart at the same time and have both.
Interesting. I'm curious of how this combo together, both physical and NFTs, are all going to come together or not, or keep separate. People are going to value them the same way. There's also another side of this conversation that I'm not sure if you can speak on or have thoughts around, is the environmental footprint of NFTs. I mean, there's the concept of minting a new NFT, non-fungible token, is then the if I understand, the unique instance of specific token on the blockchain, which then has a climate change issues depending on which blockchain is used. What have you seen as far as the conversation around this in the art community? Is it talked about at all, or is it just kind of ignored, or what?
It's definitely a hot topic. I think for a lot of artists who do have a more environmentally conscious practice, there is some hesitancy to get into NFTs because they're concerned about the environmental footprint. And, I've done a lot of reading on the subject, and there is a lot of misinformation out there about exactly what NFTs are contributing to the problem. The blockchain itself does consume a lot of energy, and NFTs in total make up a tiny, tiny fraction of the total contribution of greenhouse gases. So, there are obviously blockchains that are more environmentally friendly and use a proof of stake method versus a proof of work, which is what Ethereum currently is. So proof of stake blockchains would include like Tezos, for example, or Polygon, and these are much more environmentally friendly. Ethereum, which is probably the most popular blockchain currently and seems to have, I think, in my opinion, the most staying power, they are moving towards a proof of stake model, and it will reduce, I think, 99% of overall energy consumption. So it's going to be a really, really huge step forward in terms of the environmental impact. And I think everybody in the Ethereum community is really looking forward to that. Of course, climate issues today are very important. It's something that we all need to consider. So I think for artists who are maybe turned off by the current model for Ethereum right now, starting to get into NFTs using Tezos or on Polygon is definitely a great option and something to explore.
It's everyone, no one wants to affect climate change negatively. So the nice thing is everyone's saying, all right, this is an issue. Let's fix it. And it sounds like the community, which the nice thing around the blockchain theoretically is it should be community based, is moving in that direction. So hopefully in the next couple of years, it won't be an issue.
We're told it's 2022. So we're all waiting. I know. Ethereum, the developers are working really hard to make it happen. But obviously it's very complicated.
So, I mean, for a general artist, I mean, what does it look like to say, all right, let me make some NFTs now? I mean, is it simple a decision as that? Just take me through a basic process of what that looks like.
Yeah, I think it's different for every artist. The reason to come to decide to create NFTs, it might be motivated by different reasons. And I think that there are a number of considerations. First of all, I wouldn't recommend minting every single artwork that you've ever created ever as an NFT. I think that just as with a physical portfolio of works, you want to be selective. Showcase your best work. Obviously there is value in scarcity. So don't put out 100 like sort of thoughtless NFTs all at once, right? Like if you're going to start a series and you want to put together a body of work, you can do it slowly. It doesn't have to be a mad rush, which I think a lot of people feel because the space just moves so quickly. And I think that, deciding what kind of platform you want to work with. So whether it is a closed curated platform, like Super Rare, for example, there's an application process that you have to go through. It's tough to get on there, or more of a community driven platform like Foundation, where you have to receive an invite in order to become an active artist. Again, can be difficult to get on there, but there are other platforms that are open platforms like OpenSea or Rarible, but then, because they are open, there's a lot more out there to compete with, and discovery can be an issue. So whatever you do, it's really important to make sure that you're setting time aside to market yourself and promote your works and connect with people in the community to help shed light on the art that you're making.
I feel like NFTs also provide an opportunity for non-traditional artists to be able to make money off of their work. Can you share about that?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the most exciting things about this entire space for me. If you think about performance artists, for example, it's got to be really hard to monetize your work, right? Unless you get a corporate client and you're doing like events or you get a grant. Now you can create an NFT of your performance art and sell it. And that's something that has not been available to artists up until this point. The same goes for many digital artists and animators, right? You sort of have to rely on a corporate client who's going to direct you, and you have to work within the brand guidelines. And ultimately, my mom's a graphic designer, so I know what it's like to have to compromise your artistic vision to meet a client's requirements. And it's tough if you're a very creative person. And so I think for artists, it's really exciting to no longer have those limitations.
This movement of purchasing, coming back to kind of the economics of it, because it's exciting for artists. Yeah, now I can make money. People, there's purchases going on. If I understood correctly, a lot of the purchases have been happening with crypto, like cryptocurrency. And so we see these big numbers, but it's actually been purchased using crypto that the valuations have exploded. There's a multi-part question here. First off, are you guys accepting cryptocurrency in the purchase of NFTs and et cetera, or is it only like US dollars, et cetera?
So for the Other Avatars project, all purchases will be accepted in Ethereum. So we're only selling the NFTs on Ethereum. You can't check out using USD yet. Definitely on our roadmap of things that we want to explore and introduce would be the opportunity to purchase physical art, NFTs using crypto or using fiat. So really exciting opportunities in the future, but currently we have them separate.
Gotcha. And this concept of NFTs, do you think everywhere will eventually become fiat money will be used to buy NFTs, or will always be kind of more tied to you're using and buying NFTs with crypto?
I think that when you do purchase with crypto, you're creating that record. That transaction is being recorded on the blockchain, right? And it supports being able to see what was paid for that NFT, right? And that is going to add to the value of that NFT because it's part of the provenance, it's part of the sales history of that work. So being able to have access to that information is really helpful and really important. So I think that more people will start using crypto, especially because once we sort of get past all of the onboarding issues and how difficult it is to sort of get started now, the ease of being able to send crypto anywhere in the world in a matter of seconds is just phenomenal.
I guess this is helpful for me, and others may already knew about this, so sorry if you have, but it has to be purchased via Ethereum or crypto. Like if you're using Ethereum as to mint the NFT, it has to be purchased using Ethereum. Is that correct? Is that a technical aspect?
Yes. So if your NFT is minted on the Ethereum blockchain, purchases will need to be made in Ethereum. Likewise, if you are minting an NFT on Tezos blockchain, the purchases would be made in Tezos.
Gotcha. So first you'd have to purchase that cryptocurrency and have that cryptocurrency to buy NFTs. So if anything, a barrier to get involved in this is you have to then also understand cryptocurrency. And I get that it's layered on top of each other, but in my head, I guess I've always seen them as NFTs over here using blockchain, and then you have crypto also using blockchain, but obviously they're tied, and I just didn't realize how closely they're tied. Is that an issue then? Is it, or is it not an issue? People get it, and they're like jump on right away of, okay, let me buy some crypto, let me buy some NFTs, I'm good.
I think that obviously the onboarding process for getting into crypto is a little bit complicated. And if you think about the fact that you have to like go to an exchange, buy cryptocurrency, transfer it to a wallet, whether that's like MetaMask, software wallet, or a hardware wallet, which I would highly recommend over a software wallet because software wallets are not secure. Then you have to purchase the NFT, right? So it requires a lot of sort of preparatory work in order to get yourself to the point where you can just buy an NFT. But it's something that, obviously it's an issue. And in order to have more mainstream adoption, the process is going to need to be simplified. And there are a lot of, great thinkers and devs and, just the community's really knocking their heads together on how to solve that problem.
Aside from the environmental footprint issue, I mean, that seems to be, to me, the biggest issue of mass adoption of NFTs. It's just the cumbersome of just buying it, purchasing it. You have the whole community that's already in crypto, no problem for them. But what percentage are those who get it, understand it, are buying crypto, and versus the rest of the world that's not? I have to look up those numbers. I should probably already know those numbers, but feel like that has to change.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a growing number of people who are interested and open to learning more. And obviously, as I said, the NFT community is very welcoming and helpful. So if you're new and you want to learn more about crypto and you want to learn more about NFTs, go to crypto Twitter, follow some people, read some threads. It's a really great place to sort of figure things out.
If anything, it's NFTs will drive the adoption of cryptocurrency because it's actually something to spend your money on. Like versus just have money and wait for it to go up and down. Now I have a reason to go and get some crypto aside from I want to invest in it to make money off of it one day.
Yeah, NFTs have sort of provided this something that you can actually spend crypto on, right? That's native to the blockchain. So that's really exciting. And I think that that's why we've seen sort of this like boom and interest in crypto over the past year. And it's really, really grown and become much more of an area of focus. And we are seeing more people who are getting into it for that reason, because they hear NFT. What is that? It's art. It's something pretty. I can look at it. I understand the concept of art. Maybe the fact that it's digital is a bit of a stretch, but now I understand. And then there's also, all of this built-in utility that can come with NFTs. So whether it's access to a community, or if you are talking about, like digital assets for use in the metaverse or in gaming, for instance, right? So if you talk to somebody of a younger generation or somebody who's very familiar with video games, I guess I won't assume age, purchasing something in a game is a very normal concept. And so the idea of purchasing an NFT is not going to be a stretch for people who are really familiar with that.
I definitely see a transition or increased adoption in games to let's just make NFTs part of it. You buy something in here and then trade with other games. I hear that conversation. I have yet to actually see it commonplace yet. I don't know if you've seen any of that, any games that have adopted the inter exchange of NFTs.
I think it's something that's being worked on. I'm not a huge gamer, so I won't pretend to be an expert on this. But there are a lot of games that are developing sort of a play to earn economy where, like Axie Infinity, for instance, you can go on and there are people who are playing Axies, making their Axies and getting love potions and selling these assets for, crypto, which is then turned into fiat. So people can earn a living playing this game. I think we'll see a lot more of that in the future, and likely when all of the different metaverses, I guess, become more well established, more interoperability between them.
So this is the beginning. It finally, for those that have been struggling with crypto overall, and getting into this and NFTs by itself, but it's when you look at the two together, you start to see, okay, now there's a use case to get some crypto, and because you want some art if there's a desire, which then fuels everything. This future of NFTs, do you see any other roadblocks, or just is it those are the kind of the main ones that's in the way?
That's a very good question. I think that, I mean, right now, that's sort of where my mind is, because I'm thinking about the best ways to, help more people understand this technology and use it for their benefit. So, thinking about the environmental and thinking about just the onboarding process. I think also, there's a big issue when it comes to just security and people not understanding that blockchain, NFTs, cryptocurrency, these are all Web3 technologies, and using a Web2 device like a smartphone to store your Web3 assets, it's just not secure. So, thinking about hardware wallets as a way to, having them become more mainstream when it comes to onboarding to crypto is really important.
What's a hardware wallet?
A hardware wallet is it's a device. They're usually like this big, and it basically just stores your crypto for you. So it has a set of private and public keys. The public keys are what other people can see, and the private key is just for you. You're the only person who has access to it, essentially. And it's not connected to the internet. So basically, it's sort of this like impenetrable way to secure your assets.
Getting it offline into physical space is the best way to secure
exactly.
digital asset.
Exactly. And I mean, it does live on the blockchain. It's just that it can't be accessed by anybody else because you hold the keys to control that crypto or those NFTs.
I already feel like I'm going to see movies now with hardware wallets are going to be stolen.
Have you seen Billions?
No.
There are a bunch of scenes in Billions where Bobby Axelrod, who is one of the main characters, is like giving hardware wallets to some of his employees in sort of shady deals. So it's happening. It's happening.
It's happening. It's happening
it's
already. I love it. I love it. So, I mean, so one way is storing it. And then the other thing is we talked about this earlier, but wanting to show it off. I mean, if you have physical art, you put up on your wall, what's going to be the wall? What is the wall that you've seen for your digital art, your NFTs?
I've seen a number of different things. Digital screens, right? So that's sort of not very much of a stretch. It's just kind of like a TV. I haven't seen any that are beautiful yet. And I think that there are a number of companies that are working on this right now, trying to make, like a much nicer display and experience for NFTs. And that's important too, because if you think about the fact that many NFTs are animated, right? You want to be able to have a surface that's going to reflect that and show the art in the way that it was meant to be experienced. A lot of artists are purists, and they're like, hey, yeah, I mean, this is a digital art. It's meant to be experienced in a digital format. So your phone is fine. A computer is fine. You can put it on a TV. That's cool. And then I've also seen at some galleries like projection installation. So just projecting the NFT onto a big white wall and having something like much, larger and sort of that you can experience. But there are obviously issues with that, color quality, et cetera.
What about just being a Web3 and like metaverse and people wanting to share it in a more digital environment? Is there sites or places that a lot of people are congregating and showing off that, hey, look at my NFT?
Yeah, there's something called Rainbow Wallet, which allows you to basically look at the contents of any address. So you can look up somebody's like Ethereum address and check out all of their NFTs. Lazy.com is a platform where a lot of collectors will show off their works. You basically connect your wallet and it will pull and show all of the NFTs that you have in that wallet. And then I think, obviously the most popular is just OpenSea, which is constantly listening for all activity that's happening on the blockchain. It's pulling in all of the listings. You can, view somebody's wallet. You can, view somebody's portfolio of works, for instance. You can check out an entire collection of avatars there really easily and do secondary sales and, make bids, et cetera. So
it's because it is on the blockchain. Theoretically, anyone can access it, right? That you can see what's on there, who owns it. So it's inherently visible. But I'm curious, as more technology platforms pop up, how it will be viewed. You have one whole other piece, which is the VR metaverse. You have said company which just changed said that we will now be able to go in virtual environments, and we'll just plug into our wallet and be able to show off our NFTs, invite our friends over, and now you have your virtual home that is covered in NFTs.
Absolutely. I've seen also some platforms offering sort of like a DIY museum or gallery space. So you can sign up, connect your wallet, and then you can sort of arrange all of your NFTs into this like virtual museum environment or gallery environment, which is really cool. So there are a lot of, just a lot of different ways, especially when it comes to like the metaverse and sort of virtual reality of being creative and showing off your works in an interesting way.
I don't know if this works or compares, but when I think about it showing off, I go back to old social media platforms like MySpace, and you have your wall. I mean, the future is now you're going to have a wall just in a different way. Maybe in your own museum of NFTs and your memes that you can show off to all your friends.
Yeah. And I mean, social media is obviously still a very popular way to share your work. If you go on Twitter, lots of people are sharing their purchases that they recently made or the artwork that they created. So, it's a very visually stimulating experience.
Yes, on multiple fronts. Well, I really appreciate, Monty, you kind of walking us through. Now, this is an assumption for everyone. You know what NFTs. We didn't go into the 101s of it, but it's powerful to understand the increased adoption and how it's actually bringing down the barrier in some ways for artists to be able to monetize, and for access for anyone to say, I'm going to get into art just in a different way in online. So thank you for walking this through and sharing some time with us.
Oh, thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
And we'll see you all on the next episode of UpTech Report. Have you seen a company using AI, machine learning, or other technology to transform the way we live, work, and do business? Go to uptechreport.com and let us know.